Hey guys, this is Undercover Dudes all the way from down under, and today we're going to be talking about the free-to-play launch of Quake Champions. Now, over the last weekend, Quake Champions went free to play to go and coincide with QuakeCon, a yearly event where id and Bethesda go and show off their fantastic games, Doom Eternal, Quake tournaments, etc, and it's a really cool event. But I can go and guarantee that you, the person watching this video right now, is in one of three groups. One, you're a Quake Champions fan. You knew that the game went free to play. You like the game, or you have a slight interest in it, whatever. You heard the news on the subreddit, something, whatever, Twitter, doesn't really matter. You were in the loop. Two, you're a free-to-play first-person shooter fan. You may or may not have heard that the game went free-to-play, but this might be your first exposure because I'm a free-to-play first-person shooter-based channel, so I go and deliver that type of news to you guys, and you might go and download the game and try it out, etc, and more than likely, you will go and like it because it is a really good game. But then we have the third group, the overwhelming majority of people that have gone and played Quake Champions. And those are the people that went and redeemed the game for free in June 2018. They went and played it and are like, well, this game just isn't good, or they just weren't interested, or they just really didn't care. In June 2018, we hit the all-time peak for this game, 17,332 people. But only after 2 months, this game went all the way back down to 2,600 people. That's approximately 1,000 people more than before they just gave the game out to everybody. That's such a monumental drop, and the reason why is very clear. Quake Champions, only a few months ago, was what people would go and say on its last legs. The game was dying, the game was in a terrible state, and the game wasn't ready to be made free to play. So what Bethesda went and did, it's like, okay, we're just gonna go and give the game out. We're gonna go and give it a momentary boost, but we're still gonna keep it in early access. We're still gonna go and chuck a price tag onto it later on, just to make people say, okay, the game still isn't ready, it's bugging, whatever. And people are like, well, you gave the game out for free, but it's shit, so I'm just not going to play it. And people just left, and admittedly there is more people than there was before, but overall, that launch, that in quote-unquote soft launch, was a failure. So over those 2 months, id was cooking away, getting some really good patches going, and admittedly in early August or before that, I'm not sure when these patches came through, but the game got dramatically better. Now, I don't know the timeline because my timeline is this. I played in 2017, I loved it, but the game was buggy, laggy, and borderline unplayable, so I quit. Then I came back in June because there was so much hype around it, the game's being given out for free. I already had the game on Steam, but the game was being given out for free. So I go and play it, and then I'm like, it's still the same. It's still the same as it was last year. There's been no change. The performance is still terrible. The lag is still there. Why am I playing it? And so therefore, I quit as well. The only reason I went and checked out Quake Champions again was because Frothy Omen started making a ton of videos on it. I would never go and check out Quake Champions on my own regard because I got burnt not only once but twice by the game, and I generally don't give a game a third chance or even a second chance at that. And that's exactly what is happening right now, and that's why the free-to-play launch was. People could go and call it a failure, but yes, the player count is rising, that's fantastic, but it wasn't a big boom that people expected because people got burnt so hard back in June. People played the game and they're like, I don't want to go and play this game, it's not fun, it's broken, it's bad, why are they going and giving it out for free? It feels like they just want to go and boost the play numbers. So then when they see it's free to play, they think, what? They're just trying to go and do it again, I'm not going to go and waste my time. And time is a valuable resource, especially when it comes to free-to-play games, because there's a myriad of free-to-play games, but you can only go and play so many. When it comes to money is a really weird thing. If you go and put your wallet to something, you have kind of like an obligation to go and play. You pay $60, you're going to go and give it a chance. Not only for an hour, but you're going to go and give it actually a decent chance. Free-to-play is very different. You download, if you have a very bad experience, you just instantly uninstall. That's what happened with Quake Champions back in June. And now, people see it's free to play, there's absolutely no boom, there's no effect, because people are just so burnt from before. So from all of this, from a marketing perspective, you could go and call the free-to-play launch of Quake Champions a complete failure. And I 100% agree, I feel like Bethesda went and dropped the ball in terms of going and getting people hyped up for Quake, because they did realistically none of it. They coincided with QuakeCon, that's good, but the people that know about QuakeCon are probably already playing Quake Champions, so it didn't really make sense from a marketing perspective, of course. But realistically, the game is in a really, really good state. And now is a better time than ever to go and make the game free to play, because you actually have a decent title. You want people to go and check it out. So even if you're not going to go and get the boom, even though you're not going to go and get a lot of people that previously played your game and then hated it, at least you're going to go and get some people that would go and give it a second chance, and then you're going to go and get that little bit of a boom because your game, again, is in a decent state. So we have a nice rounded curve of people playing more and more and more, rather than a massive peak where people just rushing in because it's a free-to-play game. And it seems like people are sticking around. It seems like we have a retention. We've got a nice rounded curve. People staying. We haven't got these massive fluctuations. That's really, really, really good. So I want to go and compare this example right here to another game, and that's Rainbow Six Siege. Rainbow Six Siege at launch was one of the most lackluster titles I've seen from Ubisoft in a while. Now, Ubisoft and I were not the best of friends, and I don't like many of their games, but I was really keen on Rainbow Six Siege. But I got burnt at launch, and I got burnt bad. The game was borderline unplayable, absolutely hated it. I uninstalled and vowed never to play this game again. The game went from a 20,000 concurrent peak at launch to 11,000 within the next couple months, which is a very, very, very big drop, especially for such a big title from such a big company. And so from there, the game was doomed to be dead. A lot of people, like me, went and just wrote the game off, vowed never to go and play it again. But then, Ubisoft, in the back, they started reworking the game. They started developing the game more and more. They were committed to the title. And now Rainbow Six Siege, it's in a little bit of a downfall because of some decisions that Ubisoft have made that I won't go and comment on. But overall, for the last couple of years, the game has been on an upward slope, because the game has been progressively getting better and better, and the people that got burnt at launch got back in and thought, okay, this game's actually not too bad. And then more and more people realize, okay, this game is actually really good. Why didn't I hear about this at launch? Well, you didn't hear about launch because it was such a bad launch, but people got more and more into it, again and again and again, more people started playing. And this, I feel, is what could potentially go and happen to Quake Champions. People that play the game before, the more and more the game goes and grows, people go and get back into it. It's a free-to-play title. They can go and give it another chance if people around them are saying that's an okay game. And then the more they go and play it, they've realized, okay, it's not that bad. Now, to be fair, we're in the state when it comes to gaming where we have games like Fortnite, right? Where people just go and hop in and it's, oh, we're going to hold your hand the whole time and you're going to have lots of fun. Quake's not like that. You get dominated, you get dumpstered by pros. Now, for me, I love it because I go and learn and I get frustrated. But I don't get frustrated most of the time because of a crap mechanic or something that's really kind of cheaped me out of a kill, whatever. I get frustrated because I played bad. I missed a railgun shot. I didn't go and predict where the enemy was going to go, and then I didn't hit him with rocket launch, or I just had bad aim or bad map knowledge, or I just got completely outskilled. Most of the time, it's my fault for the reason that I died, because somebody just owned me. And that's such a great, frustrating feeling, because I just go back into it. I'm like, I want to go and get better and better and better and better. And that type of mentality, the younger demographic doesn't have it at this point. And that's why you have games like Fortnite, where it's like, wow, we're going to hold your hand. And even if you do bad, we're going to go and give you all these tools to make it so you can go and kill the good players, which is absolutely terrible, in my opinion. But Quake doesn't do that, realistically, besides Death Knight, but we won't go and talk about that now. Most of the time, if you're good, you'll do good. If you're bad, you'll do bad, and you will get pummeled into the ground until you go and get better. And that is such a humbling experience, and it's really, really good if you're a person that has played FPS games for a long time and you want something that goes and brings you back to the good old days realistically. Now, to be fair, Quake Champions is the most casual of any Quake game. If you want the most hardcore competitive Quake game possible, go back to Quake Live, Quake 3, Quake 1, whatever. Those games will go and completely go and just quench your thirst for just dominating people if you are good. And if you're bad, you're gonna get stomped in the ground. That's just what goes and happens. But Quake Champions is a game that goes and breaks from that mold. It goes and says, okay, even if you are a bad player, here's the champions, a little bit of a crutch for you. But if you are bad still, you're still going to be bad, but you're not going to get as pummeled as you would in Quake Live. Now, if you guys remember Quake Live, it was a free-to-play game, but that game was so brutal and so just devastatingly honest in terms of, if you're bad, this game isn't for you, but it just alienated a lot of people that wanted to go and potentially try it out, that wanted to go and get into the Quake series. Now, for people that had been previously playing Quake, man, Quake Live was a godsend, man. The game, it was really, really fun, and I liked it as well, but it died off eventually simply because it didn't have the support behind it. You need new blood when old blood leaves, and there was no new blood coming in. Quake Champions, on the other hand, the old veterans went, and even though they were apprehensive and there was a lot of pushback, in the end of it, realized, okay, even with the addition of champions, this is still Quake in its, I wouldn't say most pure form, but it is in a form that is very, very fun to go and play. But then you have people that have played first-person shooters before trying out Quake, and then they're like, okay, this game, even though I'm getting pummeled, it's still fun enough where I want to go and get better. I want to go and get better and play more and more and more. And that's the thing about Quake that a lot of other games don't have. There is realistically no ceiling. You can never stop getting better. You can never stop trying more and more and more. This quality is shared by games like Counter-Strike Global Offensive. You can never stop getting better in that game. Same as League of Legends, same as Rainbow Six Siege to an extent. But then you go and move into other quote-unquote esports, because now we're talking a little bit about esports here. You have a look at Call of Duty, quote-unquote esport. No, the game, there's a cap, right? There's a cap of how good you can go and get. There's no limitless ceiling, because in the end of it, it's still just an arcade first-person shooter, realistically. But Quake, it's not. It has this limitless ceiling where people want to go and get better and better and better. And then you couple in that it has, you know, realistically infinite amount more of content that could be put into the game. New guns, new modes, new maps, new champions, you know, the whole thing around the name, a new champion. People want to go and try it out. So overall, the game is set up for success. It and Bethesda just have to go and play it out properly. Now, my final reason why I think Quake Champions can go and thrive as a really, really fantastic game, it's because you have a look at League of Legends, look at Counter-Strike Global Offensive, very, very similar games in terms of what the games go and represent. Very high level skill games, but still relatively okay to go and get into. You're going to get pummeled, but you can still go get into it. But the thing is, with League of Legends and Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Dota 2 and games like that, they have really stood the test of time. Throughout all the market changes, you remember a few years ago when Overwatch came out and people saying, man, Overwatch just gonna go and kill everything. Well, every game had a little bit of a dip, but the games like CSGO and League, they still went and kept thriving. But with that said, what's happened to Overwatch? The game's just gone down and down and down and down because it can't stand the test of time. That game is not as good as all the other games that I've just gone and mentioned. But then you have a look at Quake. Quake can go and stand the test of time because it already has. You have a look at all the other Quake games and all the veterans, they're still here. Realistically, they're still here playing the game even after 20 years. Different iterations, yes, whatever. But still, they're still here playing Quake Champions. There is something to Quake that just draws people to still playing it. Same as League, same as CSGO. Same. And that's why I think, truly, that this game has potential. It's been led down the wrong path, and it's been corrected now. It just has to see itself into the future. Was the free-to-play launch lackluster? Of course it was. But more so, it was a symbolic first step. It and Bethesda, they go and bite the bullet. They say, okay, our game is in a good spot right now. All the growing pains in the past, we're just going to go and forget about that. We're going to make the game free to play, and we're just going to go and continue on our way, making the game better and better and better in order to go and develop it into one of the best free to play first person shooters out there. And I personally hope for the best, because this game, in my opinion, is a top tier game, a top tier free to play first person shooter, and I'll definitely be playing it long into the future. But other than that, it's Undercover Dudes all the way from down under.